peg in the ground, let alone hitting the golf shots. For lack of a better term, Rick, he does limp home as we see here, bogey, but a 1 over, T63, he's going to have that carrot dangling in front of him on Friday that we've really dangled here over the last couple of years. That's making the cut at a major.
Yeah, the 14 in the middle were great. You know, he started on 10, so he made a par on a par 5 that's playing under par, and then he made bogey on 11, and he kind of turned the tide with a very nice par save on 12 before getting into basically a really good 14-hole stretch, and then to kind of cough it up, and then a little bit more with back-to-back bogeys on 8 and 9 to end your day. It stinks. You know, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth to go from 1 under to 1 over, and expectations have changed so much, KP. You know, it used to be win or bust for Tiger, and then it was, is he going to show up? How many rounds is he going to be able to complete? And Joe's right. It feels like every Friday that Tiger has played, it has been a cut sweat, and it seems like that's going to be the case again.
Yeah, which, depending on how you look at it, is interesting and fun to kind of follow. I remember Southern Hills, watching him grind to make that cut on Friday was kind of thrilling. I mean, it's very different than what we've come to expect. But again, this is an expectations thing. It is I think those of us that are kind of involved and cover the sport and are, out here a ton, it's like, yeah, this 72 is actually a pretty good score for where Tiger's at physically. Now, if you're just jumping into, maybe you watch 3 or 4 tournaments a year, you tune in when Tiger's playing, you might think, I thought this was Tiger. What's the deal? Well, this is Tiger. This is kind of the median of what I think we should expect at this point in his career from a physical standpoint. So I was impressed with his short game. His hands were really good. This could have been 75, honestly. He saved a bunch of pars, hit some long putts. He kind of showed a little bit of magic around the greens, but he just doesn't have the tee to green game to keep up with a Xander, a Rory, not to mention guys like Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm who are about to tee off.
Last month at Augusta, there was that historical reference point for him making the cut, and that was obviously what was driving him there. It appears to be what's driving him here again, and like he said a couple weeks ago, he just loves to play the game of golf, and golf hasn't loved him back in that same way, but it is still a pleasure to have Tiger Woods out in this field. Always adds something in the crowd. It still moves with the big cat out there on the grounds. We're going to get to some of the big names, but I think it might be time to talk Tony, who quietly climbed up that leaderboard, I believe sitting in second place right now. Finau really on no form, Rick.
Yeah.
The putter, balky throughout the year, but ball striking, the numbers have been up and down. How do you explain the round he amassed today?
Yeah, it's interesting. This on paper, or if you went back to last year, this would have been a pretty decent setup for him. You can bomb it around, and he can use his club head speed, but he has often been able to unable to out-hit his putter. That's been the issue. It doesn't matter how many greens you hit, how many opportunities you give yourself if you can't roll the rock. And he's gone through a couple of adjustments that he's made. He tried having that toe up very high in the sky.
The Hideki.
Yeah, it worked out for a little bit, and then the numbers kind of fell off a cliff, and he was giving 3, 4, 5 shots back every week that he played. And now he's starting to get into a little bit better of a routine, a little bit better situation, KP. And if he can unlock that part of his game, because he's always got pretty decent hands around the green, if he can unlock the putter, he is elite in some of the long game areas, and this is a good setup for that.
It really is. I mean, you watch him out here just on the range, and it's like this is so. There's a handful of guys that you watch, and you're like, this is so easy. It looks so just almost flippant, almost nonchalant for him to hit it 310, 320, 330. And it's the type of golf course. I think about number 7. I was just watching Brooks Koepka and that crew on number 7, and Brooks hit it to 2 feet from 240 out or whatever he was, made 3 there, made eagle there. And that's the type of hole where, it's playing, I think, 570 today, 580, something like that, 590 maybe. It's the type of hole where if you have distance, it just is the biggest advantage. And that's an obvious thing, right, at par 5s, guys. But when you're walking around this place, this is a really weird thing to say out loud and a hard thing to explain, but it just feels big. It feels like it feels like the Polo Grounds out here. It's a massive ballpark, right? And so for somebody like Finau, I agree with you, Rick. I'm glad you said this. On paper, you're like, man, this fits Tony really well. And for him to go bogey-free so far through 17 holes, I think is it's exciting. I love having Finau involved at big-time major championships.
But don't look now, but the aforementioned Brooks Koepka 4 under as he puts a birdie on top of that eagle at number 7 that you allude to there, KP. We'll get to Brooks a little bit later on once his round does go final, but I think we do have a couple others to explore here that are in the house. What is it? Jordan Edward Spieth? Jordan Alexander Spieth. Pardon me. I hate to misremember the middle name there of the great Jordan Spieth, but a PGA championship does the thing that only 5 before have done. And if this was going to be the round, I'm not sure you could have envisioned much better than a 2 under 69 to open coming in on little form. Yes, 3 squares on the card, but I think to borrow from Rick here, those are built into the models for Jordan Spieth. You're going to see a couple of those for him to offset with the number of birdies he made. You have to be enthused, KP, about what you saw through 18 holes.
Well, first of all, I'm not enthused that you're asking me golfer middle names on live
television. I know you know all of
them. That is terrifying. No, this was great. I mean, listen, like I did not come into. I think so. You go back to he won the Open Championship in 2017. So, that's when the PGA was still in August. So from 2017 on, he's had a shot at the Career Slam. And I think coming into this week might have been the lowest of all those expectations. Maybe 2019 and Bethpage, expectations were not very high. That was kind of when he was in the middle of his bigger slump, Rick. But I just didn't have really any expectations for Spieth coming in. It was Scheffler, Rory, and Brooks at the top. And Spieth, you got to talk about it, but it didn't seem that real to me. I was impressed with what he did from tee to green. Now, can he do that for all 4 days, all 72 holes? I don't know about that, but I thought at least for Thursday, it was a really nice start for Spieth.
I would like to get deep on a Spieth theory if I.
Oh,
this is the time and place.
Yeah, you're at the right.
I've got the right audience. Yeah. So he has entered this week in the last couple of weeks, driving it really well.
I know, it's crazy.
Crazy good, long, accurate, and also struggling to hit those second shots.
Yeah.
The other thing is he's been dealing with this wrist injury that he does not know when that ligament is going to pop out, when it's going to pop back in. It's kind of this
That's fun.
In the back of his head all the time. Here's the theory. Driving, it's no problem. There's no impact with the turf.
Yeah.
Second shot, big problem. Lots of impact with the turf. You guys have been out here. That Zoysia, it's almost like
it's sitting up there.
A little bit of a trampoline.
I like this theory.
This is good. It sits up. You do not have to get down and compress it. You do not have to dig it out of the dirt. He can almost pick it clean, and I think it removes some of the doubt and some of the fear that he has.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously more than vaguely interested.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Right
Yeah.
Now, he might just like lose 5 strokes on approach tomorrow.
It's the patented Musso thin 7 iron. Is what I think what he's got in play.
What was he on strokes gained? Did you see his strokes gained approach?
I didn't see the final number. No,
because I know off the tee he was solid once again.
I hope it's a big number because if it's not, my theory is ruined already.
Well, talk amongst yourself.
It was still shocking to me how good he was off the tee, and it's been that way for several weeks now.
You know who led the field in strokes gained off the tee at Oak Hill?
Spieth?
Jordan Spieth.
No.
Gained like 5 strokes off the tee at Oak Hill.
For the entire tournament last year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We will see if he can maintain that form over 4 days here at Valhalla. It is going to be a massive ask, as you said, KP, a big ballpark and some weather on the way. We will explore it all over the hour here on the First Cut Podcast live on CBS Sports Network. Plenty more to come. Don't move a muscle as world number 1 and new father Scotty Scheffler takes to the first tee just about 100 yards behind us here on CBS Sports Network.